Hey guys, welcome to the show. Today we have Julia McGuire and Jackie, and Julia is the founder of JL27. It's a clothing brand that's made in NYC and it features wardrobe staples. She got engaged to Jackie this summer, and they have a couples fashion account on Instagram as well. And I'm so excited to chat with them more about their upcoming 2025 wedding. So, welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. We're so excited.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having us.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's get started from the very beginning. Where and how did you guys meet?
Hinge.
That's
So,
awesome.
so many people have met on Hinge. It's so funny. I'm like,
I love it.
crazy. We met on Hinge what year?
2022.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
That's so
But
cool.
we actually talked for an entire month before
Yeah.
actually meeting because our schedules and
Nice.
everything was just like crazy,
Mhm.
which I would kind of suggest because I feel like I got to know a lot more about him and like it was less of an awkward date. Like, first date, you're like, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. Like, how many siblings do you have? Like, we kind of got that over with over text. That the
Yeah.
first date was kind of just like so fun and like a little long overdue. But yeah,
there's
Mhm.
there's there's some funnier parts to this. I like to always make sure we include that I gave Julia my number on Hinge and she did not text me.
Really?
And
archived me
I'm a little
because
type
he's
A.
so type A.
And I was a little over the apps after like
Which
maybe
happens.
2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna not use these anymore. And on a
Mhm.
whim, I did like the number one thing all your friends say not to do, which is you don't go back and message again.
Thank God he did.
And for what I don't know
Right?
why, I went back and unarchived Julia, and I actually said to her, "So I give you my number and you don't text me?" Like I don't know why. Like
I was out of town. I was like, I'm gonna get to it ever like, I
yeah.
don't know. You
Yeah.
And
notifications. I didn't see
so
it. I was
yeah,
interested
Mhm.
still, but
Yeah.
type B, type A.
Right? That's so good. Oh my gosh. It's seriously that one chance. If you didn't go back, Jackie, like this wouldn't have happened. And
I feel like I
so,
would have eventually texted him, but it did definitely
yeah.
like,
yeah.
give a little life
Mm-hmm.
to the conversation there.
And then
Mm-hmm.
we just missed each other scheduling wise, like both traveling a lot for work.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't add the our first date. I booked an amazing restaurant
Thank
in
goodness. I was like very into him.
amazing restaurant called Forsythia. Like knew she loved Italian food, all homemade pasta in New York City. And but it was like kind of end of COVID, right, where they had like the outdoor houses basically.
Right. Yeah.
Got there and they go put us out there, and Julie wasn't there yet, and I was like, oh, like I hope it's nice. The thing was like unbelievable. Had heaters,
Oh,
full
you could
sound
live in,
system. It
yeah.
was great. But
That's so good.
I didn't realize it was a 5 course tasting menu. Like that was it. There was
Hours.
no a la carte.
Like, thank gosh we liked each other because it was It
The
would have been
waitress
the
asked
worst first date if we didn't like each other. Like, you would have had to skip courses.
her. The
Like,
waitress
there's
asked
no
if you
way.
knew.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, I
So
didn't check it.
thankfully it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good. And yeah, I think you guys had that like pre first date, like getting to know each other and everything. And so it probably just made things more comfortable on that first date. And like to be texting for that long and then to go into that meal that was like hours, you're like, okay, like I'm willing to do this
Totally.
because we
But also,
typically we like each other.
but you have to make sure you have like the chemistry too. So I'm like, clearly I like this guy.
Hmm.
Like, everything's great on paper, on text. Like we have good banter, but like, are we going to be good in person? Like full chemistry.
Yeah.
And I was actually, I think it made me a little more nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I do like this guy because
Yeah.
I do like him. But it all worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And that's
So
like our
good.
anniversary is our first date technically. Like obviously our wedding
Yeah,
anniversary
yeah.
will be different, but we were
Oh.
like, because like our first date was like, yep, okay, all in. This is what's happening.
I mean,
Hmm.
we moved. We're a little crazy.
We moved. Right?
She told me she was going. My sister lives in Switzerland, and so I was going there for Christmas that year. And so, like on the first date, Julie told me, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to be in Madrid on New Year's Eve," and I was supposed to fly back the day before New Year's Eve. And like
We're
within
crazy.
2 weeks, I was like, "Are you sure that you're cool if I come to Madrid?" And
Yeah,
Julie
I
was like,
invited
"Yeah, I
us.
want you to come." I'm like, "Cool. I just booked it. I just changed all my flights." So like within a month, We were doing New Year's Eve together.
Did our first trip.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, why
Nutty
did I
looking
say on
back.
our first date, like, come with me to Madrid? That's fun. Like, yeah, it was
We had a
great.
good time.
Yeah.
I know. You guys knew it. You moved pretty fast. I like it. It's great. Yeah. So you guys do travel a lot, and I know you've traveled recently. Like, what are some of your favorite trips that you've had together?
Oh my goodness. And like he travels a ton for work and I kind of
Okay.
do for work as well. Gosh, where are we go? We're going to Zermatt, Switzerland,
Ooh,
the 14th.
Yeah.
So like
so fun.
we're
Like
going
this week. Yeah.
Yeah.
literally. I know. Oh, really? We're going there this week and then honeymoon trip. Everyone keeps asking us. I'm like, we need to get through planning the wedding. But we
Right.
really want to do, he's really good at travel planning. You always book the trips. I'm just like, fun. I'll be there.
Right.
But I think
I think we're gonna do Lake Como and then Sardinia, but we may push it back to September.
yeah.
Okay.
Timing in the summer and
Mm-hmm.
We
For your
also
honeymoon.
traveling so
Yeah.
much that we're like, we
Yeah.
should maybe like relax and then plan the trip, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We also,
what's your favorite that we've done?
So exciting.
goodness, I don't know. What do you think?
Marrakesh was
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the coolest.
That's
Stay
so
there.
cool. I want to go
That
there.
was such an epic trip. Like I would go back. It was so
Elfett
cool.
Hotel. It was
Yeah.
Richard Bronson's sister's hotel.
Wow.
That hotel was one of the. There's no locks. No one locks their doors. Period.
Insane. Like
That was one of the coolest
design,
hotels.
interior, every little nook is
Yeah.
so special. We went to Mallorca recently. We went to Portugal for a wedding.
Cool.
We should have probably done a destination for like
Yeah.
we can't go back now. We're too far along in the wedding.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. Okay. So you guys start dating after your long 5-course meal, and then you get engaged. So tell us how that all progressed, and then tell us your engagement story.
You want me?
Yeah, I was like, take it away. He's
I'm
better
gonna-
with
and
timelines.
I'm gonna
too.
add.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add something here that I don't think Julie and I have ever talked about on social media before. So
Okay.
I was married before.
Okay.
I met someone when I was younger in my 20s. I don't think I was mature enough to understand and know red flags or people mature and change and grow apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so some things happened that made it very easy for me to decide that getting divorced was the best decision
Good for me.
for
Right.
both of us.
Yes.
And so, but through a lot of that, like I did a lot of work on myself for really like probably 4.5 years,
Wow.
leading, and some of that was leading up to getting divorced. But I say all that because then when I started dating and everything else, like I'm 38, I was very much like, I'm just going to be cool, Uncle Jackie. Like I have amazing nieces and nephews, all my friends' kids. I'm like, I'm good. Like I probably missed the one. And I never really, like I have a couple friends where I see them and their significant others and I'm like, you just see it. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
they're perfect. Even the hard times aren't hard and they shouldn't be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I say all that to lead up to the engagement because our first date was November 30th. We went to Madrid December. I met her in Madrid December 30th.
Wow. Yeah.
End of January or early February
Mhm.
of 2023, she brought me down here to the town she grew up in, Brielle, and her mom grew up here. Her grandfather had this amazing house, really small cul-de-sac, private dock for only a couple houses, and she took me out onto it, and it was actually the picture of your background of your phone for like 6 months.
Oh.
I literally in that moment was like, this is where I'm doing it. Like I knew it.
So special.
I knew it
yeah.
6 weeks in. I told my sister in
Wow.
Switzerland 2 weeks in. I'm like, I think this is. I'm
I
like, I
probably
can't
would
believe
have
I can say
married you
this.
then too. My mom would have killed us, but
Your mom
Right.
told me.
you have to be engaged.
Told me
Otherwise,
within a year.
Yeah.
Your mom told me the first time I met her, don't do it within a year.
Yeah.
I think your mom would
Wow.
just do it. So I just knew that dock was where I was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But then your mom told me I had to wait, so I waited. 'Cause I love your mom. I don't want her to not like.
Did you have a ring at that point, or were you like, no, let's just put it
like
off?
2 months into
He,
dating.
by the way, hid the ring in my closet, and I was like, I
was
have
in
my
the
own
safe.
like separate area, and I'm like, I have been in there It was there for like a month or two, right?
Well,
When did you get the ring? In May?
I think May.
Yeah, because he proposed in July, and I'm like,
a year.
I've been picking out
I did wait a
shirts
year.
next to my engagement ring.
But the engagement story is actually, it's kind of funny. So, and I'll try to do this much.
Yeah, we're
quicker.
talking.
It could be a long story.
I love it.
So I of course asked her dad before, and
I love that.
asked her dad to ask her mom, and then I spoke with her mom because her and her mom are very, very close best friends, and thankfully everyone said yes, so that was good. And basically they were like, "Where are you gonna do it? When you do it?" I'm like, "So I want to do it on her grandpa's dock." And the first question, your mom and dad both said, were like, "How are you gonna get her there?"
It is somewhere that like holds a lot of meaning to me. It's like we don't randomly, well, we do randomly go sometimes, but it is like it's a private dock. Like obviously my grandfather's no longer with us. Like it's not his. Like, he doesn't have access anymore. So
we went into kind of planning mode. Me, your parents, your aunt, and so her parents came back from Florida. My parents secretly came down to Brielle. We had an aunt talking to the new homeowner, so they knew we were going to come.
Wow.
And we like had this whole thing basically planned out where we were going to to one of the golf clubs here for dinner. And your mom was like, "I'm not ready. Leave without me." Like, just go. Which happened.
But by the way, in the beginning of the day, he went to play golf with my dad. He went for a run. Couldn't be more relaxed. I mean, I did not see it coming. Like, I kind of suspected something like a week before, maybe, because he had told me not to go. He was like, "No, you shouldn't do something for like your work that day. Like my parents might come down." And I was like, "Oh, interesting." He's usually really supportive of like jail 27 and like whatever. Like, okay. And then when he went golfing and like couldn't be more relaxed, was not like at all anxious or weird, like, and was like absent. I'm like, okay, like clearly nothing's happening. And I'm a fool because I've like planned this whole thing out in my head. Like it could happen today. Yeah. But I also think it better happen soon.
You're eating Ruffles with French onion dip.
I was like, someone could have told me to have like a little crude attack.
That's hilarious.
My workout clothes, not working out, eating chips, like lounging in the backyard.
Yeah.
Not photo
so good.
So
good.
And so the plan was her mom was going to make, big fit. I'm not, just go without me. I'll meet you at the club. And for like a week leading up to this, her mom was sending us houses. And I was like, separate than my corporate job, real estate stuff, one of the things I'm into. And we're looking at homes down around here. And so I'm saying to Julie, I'm like, "Oh, we should go look at those houses. Like some of the ones in the neighborhoods here." Brielle, this town is, what is it? 3 square miles? Like
wow.
It's, right? No, I don't know. It's tiny. And so to get from where we are to the golf course is like, you basically have 2 choices. Like it's a big rectangle. You either go down this road or you go down this road and you get there. And so her dad is like, "I have an idea."
He's nervous.
This is like last minute. Like literally Julia was downstairs. She's walking up the stairs. Her dad's like, "I have a plan. I'm going to drop Mrs. McGuire off and then I'm going to drive back. And then I'm going to Uber there." And I'm just like, and I'm looking at him and Julie's walking upstairs and in my mind, I'm like, I can't argue with him right now because like so I'm just like,
I'm like, didn't know anything.
You could both Uber, but that's cool. Like, I'm just like, yes. So I get in the car, we go to look at the real estate houses, but now I'm like, I need to stall 15 more minutes.
Right, until they get there,
because my parents were going, her parents, some of her best friend was here, some of their really good family friends were all down here. We're going to surprise us at the country club. So there's only 2 options. And the town's so small. Now I'm like, how do I kill time?
We were like going in circles.
I go do a circle and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I wanted to look at that house too. I love that house." Her dad had 2 choices on what road to take.
Oh,
and
no.
And it's a white Volvo SUV and he's a silver Fox. You can't miss him.
He looks like Steve Martin. Like
that's amazing.
And who is coming straight up the road at us? Her dad and mom. And I'm like, oh my God. Like 30 seconds after we left, I'm like, this is like it's gonna blow up right here.
I didn't even see. I did not.
You didn't even see him? Oh, good.
I was like looking off to the right.
I literally was like, "Oh, look at that house!"
And
like,
good.
And I was like,
good pivot there.
Not like that. I was like, okay, like I see it.
So I was like, I'm
very out of character, but it still like didn't register to me because I was like, okay, get your hand out of my face. Like,
yeah.
So we made it to the dock. We went down. And the whole thing was like, oh, we didn't do an outfit video.
Yeah, like I'll take pictures of your
I'm
Oh,
like,
that's right. Yes.
Doc, it's right here. Like, I'll do pictures there. We haven't been there a while. And she's like, oh yeah, great
So
idea.
good.
And you
So
did take photos, and they were terrible. They were like dark. I was like, clearly you didn't take photos. Normally, photos, everything I love. Like he helps me with a ton of my content,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Right.
for the record, these photos
They were
would
not
have
good.
never
They were
flown.
not
Like I was like, thanks.
It wasn't
Make
really,
the cut for the gram.
I
Yeah.
think we were a little maybe nervous then. Not nervous, but like had a plan and like had to like execute it. So he was kind of like eye on the prize, and I was, let's go.
it was,
You should tell
it
that.
was also, I will. It's so embarrassing. I will first say, like, doing it once before, though I never thought I would do it again. With you, it was just different. Like, it was, and like part of why I went for a long run was just like, this is such an amazing day. I just wanted to be like take it all in, remember everything,
Yeah.
calm, cool, collected. Like it was,
He is the
I definitely
calm one.
cried. I'm
Yeah.
also, we're all criers, I think.
Yeah,
This
we're a
group.
little. I think it's gonna be like I keep
God.
trying to think of like the
Just
song.
waterworks. Like,
Yeah, I'm like, like I cry thinking about the wedding. It's gonna be a mess, but it'll be good.
so sweet. I love it.
And so I downloaded this app that just keeps taking photos, doesn't stop.
Good
So
idea.
I'm like, perfect. This will be perfect. So we place it up. It's like against the dock piling. It's taking pictures of us. And I start saying nice things. And Julia kind of like,
He always says nice things though, so I'm like, whatever.
So
Like,
she
whatever.
goes- so she turns around to go to leave. And so I move
I
and
was
like
like, wrap it
twist
up. We gotta go. I'm
to
getting
block her
emotional.
way. And I'm like, no, we're not leaving. And she looks at me and she
I was
goes, are you doing this? And I'm like, yes, this is happening.
Aw.
And so I say a nice thing. I get down on one knee and I propose and we love it. And the thing is still taking pictures. And Julia, and at one point you can kind of see in the burst of the shots that Julia's like put it, like you're going to drop it, put it on. And I looked at her and I was like, this isn't the real ring.
He proposed with a $26 Amazon ring.
Oh.
That was an exact replica. Because she's like, what do you mean? I'm like,
I was like, this is perfect.
I'm like, the
Full
real
me.
one's in the car. There's
Yes.
no way I'm bringing the real ring onto the dock.
Right. That's a big risk. Yeah. On a dock with a ring. Yeah.
It's up in my hands too. Like very, very smart.
So you burst
I
out
was
laughing.
like, joke's on you. This ring would have been perfect. It's like,
Yeah.
you totally could have given me the Amazon ring.
That's so
Out
good.
loud. We, she said yes. This was great. So we look at the pictures, and what we didn't realize was when she went to leave, I moved. And so basically every picture of me proposing
It's
is
just
just
his
my
butt.
butt.
Everything like hidden.
Like down
and
on
it was
one
just
knee.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just the photos of his
Just
butt.
the
which
back, my back, butt.
Looked
So
great.
too.
Like,
Yeah.
for our
Thought that
personal
counts.
memories. Like,
Thought that
definitely,
Right.
we're not going to put it on the internet. We did.
Right.
One or two.
Yeah.
And it
That's
was
so good.
It was perfect. It was
Oh
nice
my gosh.
too. Like we were walking up the dock because it's like a very long like staircase to get down to the dock, and we like paused. I was like, wait, I don't want this moment to be over because it really is so. Like people say, like your wedding, everything goes so fast, and it was one of those moments. Like it does. It was so fast.
We took a selfie at the top.
Yeah,
We took
and it was like a
picture of
nice
it.
moment of just him and I, and then we got to like go like celebrate with our parents and have champagne, and then like one of my friends happened to be in town, and we had seen her earlier that day. My mom and I. So my mom was like, she's getting engaged today, and thank God, like, my best friend cannot keep a secret.
Gosh, yeah.
We're like at the end of us like being there, so she didn't spoil it, and she like met
Wow,
us.
good for her.
I know I would be like
Yeah.
too. So it was so perfect and small and like
Yeah.
us, which was so nice.
Mm-hmm.
And really meaningful and nice that he like thought of that, and
Yeah.
it's a special place. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so good. Oh my gosh, what a good story. I love it. There's always some sort of like snag, I feel like, in engagement stories, which just makes it so much more memorable and so much more fun, like when you're telling it. And yeah, just a really great memory for you guys too. It's so good. Okay, I saw your engagement photos are absolutely gorgeous. You guys went to the Plaza Hotel to take those. Tell me more about that.
So funny enough, actually, my friend from high school works there. So like she helped us
Cool.
plan this amazing. It ended up being even better than what we thought because we had the most gorgeous room overlooking Central Park.
Yeah.
Like couldn't have been a more special day. We found that photographer through Instagram. She is Anya's incredible, like beyond
Yeah.
talented. So I model for a living, right? Like this is something I've been doing since I was 10 years old. When I tell you this man showed me up, and I'm so mad because I was like, I can model in my sleep clothing, right?
Right.
I'm robotic with it. Modeling, like, it is so different from an engagement shoot. Like, it is an awkward, like, it's emotional.
We teeth kissed for like a half hour.
It was so awkward to me.
Just to get the shot, right?
He's like,
Yeah.
why are you being, he's like, relax, like, you're fine. And I was like, this is weird to me. I was like, I feel so uncomfortable. I'm like, so weird. He was like perfect. But I loosened up after a while, like, because we shot for
Oh, that's good.
Just do what I'm
hours.
told.
And then actually what we used for our save the date, which I had just posted, we don't have one here, was the last shot, like before we were leaving to get in our Uber to go meet our
Oh,
friends, which was so
so
fun and just
cool.
like, it was just a
I
really
was
cool
over it by
shoot.
then.
Yeah.
I was like, ready.
Yeah.
He was like,
Mhm.
I am done.
I don't know how someone does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, no, I'm like, pull it together. We have one more shot. And that's the shot we actually used for our save the date.
That's so good. I love that. How it's just like sometimes those unexpected moments just like are the stars of the show in photo shoots. It's so good.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now you guys are wedding planning. How has that journey been going? And tell us more. I know you guys are getting married this year,
Yeah.
so give us all a scoop.
I know it's happening. It's honestly flying. Time is flying by. Like, we did get
Yeah.
July and we planned for our June wedding, so it's like less than a year as is.
Right.
It's going really well. It's actually been kind of fun to plan it together because we're kind of doing something a little less traditional in the sense of we're having a ceremony with just our family in Doylestown, New Hope area, Pennsylvania, and that'll be very, very intimate. And then we're having a larger, like, warehouse fashion week style party with over 200 and
Gosh.
how many
Invited to 40.
people.
That's
So
so cool.
so fun.
Yeah.
And like, that's a really fun, like, the Friday is very easy for us the first day because it's family. Like, we want it to feel like a family party, like a gathering in the backyard, like it's at my aunt and uncle's house, so it'll be very special and intimate and like emotional
Oh, yeah.
and private. And then the party is really just going to be something a little more innovative and kind of hopefully different. And we have different, like, vendors we're working with, which has been fun to like kind of tackle that and like plan the whole thing.
Friday's a wedding. Friday is a small garden, beautiful, elegant garden theme party or like wedding.
Ceremony.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it will be probably done by 8:30.
We'll be in bed by 10,
And then we're
hopefully.
getting on a
Love
party
it.
back to New York City. And Saturday, this is how I've been describing it to people and friends that are invited to, friends and family invited to Saturday. It's not a wedding reception.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, technically it is to celebrate, but
Right.
this is a New York Fashion Week party.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
like
I'm
having
obsessed.
an ear piercing station potentially, like
Oh
having
my
a
gosh.
permanent jewelry station potentially. Like,
I
we
love
are
it.
there are so many things. Maybe we'll have to do a recap after. I'm totally inviting ourselves back. Right?
Can we come back?
Yes, I know. Seriously.
I'll wear my
We
ring.
may want.
Yes.
The reason I'm saying this is because like there are things that we can't say
Right.
because like
We
they're
wanna
going to be
tease
big
it.
You
surprises.
want to leave it a surprise. I totally
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is
It's a lot of fun to plan because we have a lot of fun things that will
Yeah.
be there and happening. And,
Mhm.
like certain people we're working with that we're very excited.
Yeah, and Julia's vision when she told me this originally, she came to me and was like,
He was
"It's
like, oh God.
funny being married before." She's like, "So I have an idea about when we get married," and I'm like, "Oh man, I'm like, this is gonna be like 500 people, St. Patrick's Cathedral, massive wedding," and I'm like, "Doesn't whatever it's at, like I'm good, whatever she says," and she's like,
Mhm.
"So I want a really small garden wedding." I'm like, "I'm in." Perfect. And she's like, and I'm like, oh no.
And
And then,
you don't want to miss out. Like, the whole fun is like, you go to so many weddings and they're fun, and it's like the party
Yeah.
is like so important.
Mhm.
People always say like it happens so quick. So like having 2 separate days, I think, really helps you take everything in one,
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
and you don't lose like just being really special and with like just our family, like to have like a real wedding. But then we want to party with our friends
Yeah.
to celebrate the wedding. So it's like the
Mhm.
best of both worlds,
Oh yeah.
I think we're going to start a trend.
I know. I think it's so cool that you guys are splitting it up. You're doing the more like intimate garden party, like closest friends and family at that ceremony. and where you can truly like soak in your vows, and that the people around you can soak it into, and that it's more small and intimate. And then you're like, let's go all out with more, even more friends and family, and let's do something totally different. And I'm all about that, because I feel like so many people, like even as a wedding guest, it's like you kind of know what to expect. Like when you go to each wedding, you're like, okay, it's going to be the ceremony, then a cocktail hour, and then the reception, and then like, you know, a couple dances and whatever. But for you guys to do something, yeah, exactly. For you guys to do something so unexpected, your guests are going to appreciate that so much. And there's going to be, it sounds like, surprises around every corner where they're like, what's even going to happen next? This is like a fashion show party. It's not like anything I've ever been to before, and it's going to be so cool. And I'm really excited for you guys, and just like making that decision too, because I know, like, and I don't know if you guys have felt this at all, but I know in a lot of the couples that I talk to, it's like they feel a lot of pressure from their family, mainly, of like, this is the way to do it, and like, this is the way I've always thought you would get married. But like, for you guys to do you and to really like take a stance on that and be like, this is how we want to do it, I think props to you guys for that. That's awesome.
Well, it is very like us, and that's like the whole
Yeah.
thing is like if we did a very large wedding and like had to like do our vows in front of people, like I don't know if I would be super comfortable with that. Like I just think it was like I wanted to be just looking at him, and like I want to be able to cry in front of like my family knows exactly who I am. Like I'm gonna be a mess. There's no way vows will actually be like words will come out of my mouth when I try to, but I'm gonna attempt. And I feel like that's just what's so important about your wedding. Like it's your wedding. It should be a representation of us. And like we love to host and we love to have friends over. And like I think the party is like going to be so incredible. Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm excited. I'm like, should this happen already? Because there's so much into it too. It's like
that's the planning is fun. The Friday, not hard.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, people do this as their full-time job.
Right.
This isn't a thing.
Yeah.
And so that has made it interesting and different. It's a ton of contracts, like reading contracts, like because we have to bring everything in.
I'm like, I don't get it. I'm like, can you?
Right, I get that. Yeah. Do you guys have a planner you're working with?
So my cousin is actually a wedding planner herself. So yeah, and her parents' house is actually where we're getting married on Friday. So she's been great help, and she's kind of helping us navigate it. But obviously, we want her to enjoy herself too. So we will have a day of coordinator there that will not be her running around.
Oh, good, awesome. That's so good. I'm so glad you guys have her. Like, in your back pocket to be like, call on. Yeah, totally.
Or like
that's awesome.
There's so much with wedding. I'm like, is this normal? Like, you know, I feel like wedding planning is one of those things that you don't know till you're really in it, like how much goes into it and like what's normal, like pricing, like all the things. So it's nice to like, yeah, it's the wedding culture like has become such a large thing too. I mean, and my whole For You page of like my content on my phone is wedding. So it's like it's definitely a big space, and it's, you know, interesting to learn so much, but yeah, it's fun to plan, but can't wait for it to actually happen.
Right? I know. Okay, so you guys are in the thick of it with planning and everything. Do you have any advice for other couples who are planning their weddings right now too?
I think the best advice I've been getting so far,
I'm interested to hear you
like do it all, just go for it kind of thing. Because if you're gonna do it, why do it kind of halfway? You know. Yeah. But also just make sure it's fun, because it is kind of a stressful thing, and make sure it's also with the right person, because you will, you know, like I think he compliments me well on the planning aspect of what I'm good at and what he's good at, and we tackle it as a team together. I don't know. What's your advice?
I have two pieces of advice. I'll start with the more confrontational one. It goes back to what you said, which was like, people will always put pressure on you to do, especially family. If you're gonna say no to things, just rip the Band-Aid off. Just do you want a small wedding and you're not gonna invite your parents' siblings, just rip the Band-Aid off. And there's no exceptions. No kids, no exceptions. Just like, this is what it is. I love you. I know you may be helping pay for certain things, but like this is, and I would recommend doing it in a very healthy, communicative way with your family members. But I think that is the having a one-on-one heartfelt conversation of like, this is my vision, this is what I really want. I understand that that may be different than what you want, but I hope you can respect and understand that. I feel like most times people are good with that when you do it that way. You may have that one aunt who doesn't, and that's okay. The other one, and this I think is actually the most important advice. I would have been given this, and any friends have gotten married, I've given them this, which was pick the two things you really care about. Like, what do you really care about? For me, it's music and champagne. Like, I care about us having great music and great champagne. Everything else, cool. Like, I can go with anything else. Everything else.
Yeah. I think that's smart. That's what I tell couples too. I'm like, pick the things that are most important to you and like put your budget into that, put more time and thought into that. And then the rest of it could be, just trickling down within your budget, or you can DIY a lot of those things, or, leave it up to some of your family to handle some of that. And so, yeah, it's your day. And it seems like you guys are doing it in the way that you want to, but also like, being respectful of your family too, and having those hard conversations, but like in a respectful manner. And I think that is really, really great advice for anybody who's listening who is kind of in this stage as well, or just got engaged. So yeah. Oh my gosh. I love this. You guys have like such a great engagement story. It's so good. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about? Like, tell us where we can find you on Instagram and any fun projects you're working on that you want to tell us about.
We will definitely be posting a ton of wedding content. We have amazing. Photographers, videographers, and content creators. We're going to have like a social content team there.
Oh my gosh,
because I'm like, I just think it's so fun. It's like the kind of content I enjoy watching too. So definitely on Julia McGuire, and then also on Jackie X Julia, which is our like shared account that we do a lot of like couple stuff. Like it's kind of more like a fun page for us, right? Like it's like I feel like my personal page is a little more like the fashion, and ours is like kind of our life, which we'll share a ton more of the wedding too, and like I want to share some of the prep and planning. I just don't know how to kind of go about it, because I want it to also be kind of a fun surprise.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah.
That's so cool. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on today. I meant to tell you too, my mom's maiden name is McGuire. So I'm like, maybe we're like distantly related, like way back, Irish roots.
They're true.
So that's so good.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys again. And yeah, go and follow them on socials. They're a really fun follow. So can't wait to see all of your amazing wedding content too. So have a good one, guys.
Yeah.
Bye. There you have it, another episode of the Wedding Reporter podcast. To see those gorgeous wedding and engagement photos, head over to NashvilleBrideGuide.com for more behind-the-scenes content. And if you like this episode, I would so appreciate it if you would rate and subscribe the show. See you next time for another great episode.